Welcome back to a new episode of Canto Be Like, a Cantonese and English bilingual podcast, helping you to learn Cantonese and Hong Kong culture. I'm your host, Venus, and today's episode we are going to be working on our numbers. Unlike usually our episodes are in a 3-episode series focusing on a single topic, and we talk about Hong Kong culture in our chit-chat session, a listening exercise fully in Cantonese, and a phrase class to teach you useful phrases and vocabularies. Today is a bit different. This is our bonus episode to celebrate reaching a listener milestone. So as of the time of recording, we actually have almost 410 downloads, which actually doubled during the past week. So amazing. Thanks so much for all your support and love. I'm so touched and over the moon about the statistics and results of this brand new podcast. So as a thank you, I'm doing a Cantonese number episode so that we can all learn how to say our numbers properly. Are you ready? Because I can't wait to start. So let's dive in. So my plan for today is to cover all front of Cantonese number. So I will start with general counting, so how to actually say the number, how to count, and I will then cover time and date, so how to use this number to say time and date. Lastly will be price and money, because we use numbers a lot in pricing and financial transaction, etc, etc. So that will be really useful to know how to say those things. And yeah, let's get started. First and foremost, we'll familiar ourselves with saying 1 to 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I suggest you replay my counting for as long as you can really consolidate those sound and counting into your brain, because they are so fundamental to Cantonese number, as all other numbers are basically built on them. So yeah, take a few minutes, replay what I just said, and get the sound really drilled in your brain. So I will record a faster version for you to replay as well. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So okay, now I assume you know how to say 1 to 10. I will try to explain how to say 1 to 100, and all the words required to say those things is based on 1 to 10. What I mean by that, because you know in English you say 13, 11, like 12, and they are like kind of like new words. They're not built on like 10 and 3, 10 and 2, and then 10 and 1, right? But in Cantonese, it's actually just combining the 10 and the digits. So I will give you a demonstration of saying 11 to 20 to get the concept really solid in your brain. So 11 is sub 1, sub is 10, 1 is 1. So 11 sub 1, and then 12 sub 2, 10 and 2, and then 13 sub 3, 14 sub 4, and then it goes on sub 5, sub 6, sub 7, sub 8, sub 9, 20. No fuss, just combining the digit and the 10. That's all. That's really easy. Like Chinese numbers are way more intuitive than English, I would say. Then I will tell you how to say all the tenths, like 10, 20, 30, 40, up to 100. So, sub 10, 20, 20, 30, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So it's just saying how many tens there are. So 10 10 20 210 20 30 310 30. Like I said, you just need to know how to say 1 to 10, and then you can work out the rest from the rules and logic. One thing I do want to point out is that so you would expect 21 to be 21, right? And sometimes we say 21 because it's easier to pronounce. And 31, we say something like 31, 31. Like, we don't say the sub because it's a hard sound to pronounce. So 31, 41, 41, 41, both are okay. And 51, 51, 61, 61, 71, 71, 81, 81, 91, 91, something like that. But I know this is a complete guide to Cantonese numbering, so I will say 1 to 100 in like a normal speed way, so you can use this audio and then replay it to really get the sound drilled into your brain. And by the way, feel free to skip to the next section because you don't really need to spend time to hearing me saying 1 to 100 if you're already confident in Cantonese number. But for those of you who really want to hear everything, here is that. Ready? Go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100. So next off, I'm going to teach you Cantonese units. So 100, 1,000, million, how to say those things. But a word of warning is very different between Chinese and English in terms of how we say these units. And I was very confused when I was learning the English way of saying those big numbers when I was a kid. So it's gonna be a bit tricky, and we will get there, trust me. So first is 100, which is 百, 100. And then the next 1,000, which is 1000. And the next we have a million, which is 100,000. And lastly, a billion is 10 億. I will try to give you example and a breakdown from 100 up to billions, okay? 100 is 100, 1000 is 1000. And then there's a new unit in Cantonese, which is man, which is 10,000. And then subman is 100,000. And bakman is 1,000,000. So it's actually funny. 1,000,000 is 100 man. And then we have 1,000 man, which is 10 million. We have a new unit, which is yik, which is 100 million. 100 million is yik. And then a billion is sub-yik. So seeing the conversion, I think you can see why I say it's a bit tricky. So I will say the unit from 100 up to a billion again for you. So 100, 1000, 1,000,000, subman, bakman, 10,000,000, yik, sub-yik, bak-yik, 10,000,000. So it's every 1,000, every 10, we have a new unit. So I think it would be good to have some practice. So how do we say 1,400,000? So that would be 140 萬. So 1,400,000 is 1.4 mil. So 140 萬. And how do we say 550,000? We need to use man in this case. Have to think about that. So that would be man. And let's do a reverse exercise. So what would be sub-yik in English? So it's probably 1.1 billion. And how do you say 35,000 in English? So that would be 35,000. It's quite a bit of mental maths to say big numbers in Cantonese. So I would urge you to do these like translation exercises to really get your conversion down so that you can say the numbers correctly. Because these are big numbers, you probably don't want to get them wrong. So moving on to our next topic, which is time and date. And this is a little respite from the complicated sub-bak, 10,000,000, subman, bakman, 10,000,000, yik, sub-yik, because we are only going to use numbers that are within the hundredth to 1 to 100. It's gonna be okay, I promise. So as we know, there are only 12 months in the year and at most 31 days in a month. So you only need to know up to 31 to say the date. And for time, there are 24 hours, but we don't really use military time. So if you're okay with up to 12, you're fine. But as you know, the minutes do go up to 60, so you do need to know those. So 1 to 60, if you know how to say those, you are covered in terms of saying time and date. So let's start with saying date first. So saying the months in Cantonese is really easy. We don't have January up to December with each month has their own unique name. We just call them, so January is the first month of the year, right? 1月. December, the 12th month of the year, 12月. So it goes like 1月, 2月, 3月, 4月, 5月, 6月, 7月, 8月, 9月, 10月, 11月, 12月. Easy peasy. And for the date, so in English it's the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd of say January. We just say 1號, 2號, 3號, 4號, 5號, 6號, up to 31號. Let's give us an example. So 5月6號 will be 6th of May. And today is 14th of June, so it will be 6月14號. So the month comes first and then the date. And yeah, let's practice how to say your birthday in your own time. That would be quite an interesting exercise to do. And for me, my birthday is 30th of December, so 12月30號. And moving on to saying the time, we usually say 上晝 and 下晝, so AM and PM. 上晝 is before noon and 下晝 is afternoon. And yeah, so you would say 8 in the morning 上晝8點, 3 in the afternoon 下晝3點, 10 at night 下晝夜晚10點. So after 6 we do say 夜晚, after 6 p.m. we do say 夜晚, okay? And if it's before 6 a.m. we say 凌晨. So 3 a.m. we don't say 上晝3點, it's 凌晨3點. So yeah, let's give us a breakdown. I think from midnight to 6 a.m. is 凌晨. 6 a.m. to noon is 上晝. And noon to 6 p.m. is 下晝. And 6 p.m. to midnight is 夜晚. So 凌晨, 上晝, 下晝, 夜晚. The 24th hour are split into 4 parts. And how do you say the minutes? So if it's 6:20, it would be in the afternoon, like PM, 6:20 PM, it would be 下晝6點20分. Or we say 下晝6點4. Why 6點4? Because in the analog clock, you can see 20 minutes is marked as 4, right? It doesn't look 20. It looks like 4. So we say 6點4. So 4 is 20. And if it's 6:15, is 6點3. You can also say 6點15分, but we usually say 6點3 if it's 搭正, as in the hand of the minute hand is placed exactly on the number. It's like called 搭正6點4, 搭正6點3, something like that. So that's something interesting about how Cantonese say time. But if it's like 6:23, you will say 6點23分 instead of 6點4 or 6點3. Yeah, it's usually for the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 hours. You say 搭1, 搭2, 搭3, 搭4, 搭5, but 6 is 搭半, and then 7 搭7, 搭8, 搭9, 搭10, 搭11, and then 搭正 is the 0, okay, or the 12. Other than that, you can just say 7點24分, 5點26分, 8點39分, things like that. Like, you can still say it like the digital way, and we will be able to understand you. So the minute is called 分, and the hours is 點. So hours 6點, 6 o'clock, 43分, 43. Alright. And the last session I've prepared for you is the price and money or financial transactions. And unfortunately or fortunately, we're going back to the units because we're going to use bigger numbers, especially when it involves more expensive item. The most used units are 10, 10萬, so 100,000 and 10,000. These are quite common amounts in our daily transactions. So say you're just shopping around and it's usually within 1,000. So let's do a couple practices in that. So say you're trying to get a school bag and it's $588 and you ask, 請問個袋幾多錢啊? Or 請問個書包幾多錢啊? And the salesperson says, it's $588. 個袋588蚊, so 588蚊. And say you are at a restaurant trying to get the bill and you had quite a lot of people eating, so it's like 1,350. Apologies if you can hear the honking and the traffic in the background because I live by a main road and it's a weekend that when I am recording this episode, so that's why the traffic is a bit heavy, so I do apologize for that. So you ask, 唔該請問幾多錢啊? and the waiter probably answer is 1350蚊 $1,350. But moving on, maybe you're shopping with your mom at Louis Vuitton and she's eyeing a bag that is 28,000. So the bag is 28,000蚊 28,000蚊. And say your mom then went to Hermes and she's eyeing a Birkin and the bag would be 135,000. It would be 13,500蚊 13,500蚊. And say your mom is really feeling like spending money on that day, and she then went into a property agent office and asking how much the flat is sold at. So it would be around 753萬 So 7,530,000 753萬. And say you want to ask how the population of China, which is around 1.4 billion, and you would say 中國人口有幾多? And someone would answer with,我哋有14億人口14億 1.4 billion. There are a lot of examples and a lot of combination how you can use 個十百千萬十萬百萬千萬億十億 and units, so have a little play around with these conversion like I said in the previous session, and hopefully you will get good at it. I personally find them to be quite tricky and difficult, so do allow yourself some time for these concepts to sink in. Alright guys, so this is it from me today. I hope you learned the important basics of saying numbers in Cantonese, including general counting, time and date, and price, money and transactions. So it will be really helpful if you know how to say 1 to 100 and all the units in Cantonese. So Canto Be Like usually publish episodes on Mondays, so stay tuned for every Monday for updates. The next mini-series I'm going to do is on housing and living in Hong Kong, because there's a saying in Chinese called 衣食住行. So 衣 is clothes, 食 is eating, 住 is housing and living, and 行 is like transportation and stuff. And I've already covered so 衣 a bit like shopping. I did shopping, grocery shopping. 食, so we did eating out just like last week. And 行, we did a series on getting around in Hong Kong as well. So I figure it will be good to talk a bit about living and housing situation in Hong Kong next. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Take care, bye.